Targets at shortstop for you, Vlad.
Man, like so many of them, I really do love Gunnar Henderson. I wonder what the price is going to be, or my 80, where my KDS where I'm going to be drafting. But he's somebody I like. Zach Neto almost feels like somebody that hasn't earned being an end of the second round pick. But I talked about this on my podcast with Jason Anthony before. Is like him versus even Trey Turner. I know they have like a little difference in ADP in certain formats, but for me, it's pretty close. Like, Neto's like per game stats and what he does, and Trout and those guys, like you said, stay healthy. It could be massive. Like this is a 35 potential guy, so I like him. I'd like to see Corey Seager stay healthy. I've been clicking that button here and there, so
sure.
those are pretty much my targets. And I like. Maybe he's already broken out, but I'll say Mason Wynn as a late guy if I missed a bunch of people, because I think the knee injuries, it's healthy coming off of that, and hopefully has a good camp. But I think he's pretty talented. I think he'll be back to running bases.
I like that he signed the contract extension too already. He's very secure in his spot, so that means that Weatherholt probably plays elsewhere, so he doesn't have to worry about that as much. Fades at the position. Is it hard to find a shortstop fade?
I can tell you somebody I'm not clicking on at all, and it's CJ Abrams.
Okay.
And it goes back to the stolen bases that I can get, the batting average potential hit, the team environment, just the team context of, the Nats suck. And apologies, Nats fans out there, but
they know. They know.
But at least you got Harry Ford. Listen, there are pitchers in this range. There's a closer. There are these, top first baseman. There's a lot going on in this range that for me, like I'm going to find my stolen bases elsewhere.
I like it. Breakout at shortstop. Who's your shortstop breakout?
I really like Connor Griffin. I think he's going to play. I don't care what the haters say. Tell me the history about Pittsburgh and this and that. I think he's the real deal. Holyfield. I think he's going to come out, mashing. I think he's like, going to be a legendary guy. So I'm willing to buy. At what point am I not going to do that anymore? I don't know yet. But like if he jumps into the top 100, I probably would be out at that point.
Currently, still on average 191. The min is only 145 only, but it's still, I can see clicking on that there. But you're right. It's going to accelerate. It's only going to accelerate when it comes to Connor Griffin. You got the Paul Skeens endorsement last week and after the first set of workouts there. And when Paul Skeens talks, the Pirates listen. So,
hey, that's a great point. It's a great point.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best E.F. Hutton there. Another reference that will go over the head of like 97% of the listening audience. I'm really good about topical references there. So
you underestimate your audience. I don't think they they get it. They get most of your stuff, and I love it.
No, it's more I'm making fun of myself for my anachronistic references, but that's all. Outfield. All right, let's hit outfield here. The thing about outfield is there's plenty of them. There's a lot of them. But the problem is you have to get a lot of them too. You have to get, you have to get at least 5, sometimes 6, depending on what you do with your UT spot. On average, 4 or 5 of them go in the first round. We'll see what happens with Corbin Carroll in the next month. But that might change it a little bit there. But, at the same time, as he rises, so as Carroll drops, Kyle Tucker rises. So I think it kind of trades off a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, you have to kind of know I feel like people have a tendency to be specific with outfield. Like it's really easy to pile up on it early because a lot of times it's like outfield versus this whatever second baseman or this third. Like you kind of want to always go the outfield, but I think you need to look at the pool as a whole and be like, okay, well, if I'm going to fill up, my outfield spots by 220, then I'm not going to be able to get these guys afterwards that I really like. If you're shopping and maybe the Matt Wallner, Jesus Sanchez, Isaac Collins, if you want any of those guys, sure you can come as a bench guy, but you can't get multiple of them. The one thing I will mention is there's this interesting pocket of left-handed mashers who are probably you can use for platoon splits very easily. It's like the Kerry Carpenters, maybe Wilyer Abreu, if it's true that he's, or maybe just hit against that. Jack Caglione, Dalton Varsho, like a lot of these very typical Addison Barger, a lot of these prototypical one-sided platoon mashers.
Yeah, at least you get on the good side of the platoon, and
Yeah.
typically lefties hit for better average too. So
Mm.
I don't want to have like all four to five of those guys. And the thing is, I want to get at least one early outfielder is the way I've been kind of building it. I also don't want to wait to like pick 20, pick 21 to get my fifth outfielder. I kind of want to fill up by then, maybe get one guy in the 300s.
Mhm.
Maybe he's my UT, but I think it kind of dries up a little bit at a certain point. Or if you take, like, for instance, Matt Wallner, let's just, I won't group him. I'll make him as an individual here. Big strikeout rate, big batting average risk. I love him. I love his power and hard hit rate, but just realize it comes with risk. And I want one of him. I don't want like three guys where all of a sudden they're playing 2 or 3 days a week. That's kind of a low key of a disaster there. So when you're like earlier, you're talking about like, I don't mind waiting. You don't mind waiting until like, to fill second base with one of your last spots. I'd rather take an outfielder than one of those like pick 200 second baseman.
That's exactly. It's a great point. And also there's a lot of talent in that range, right? Like you get a steals explosion at 4 positions with Jose Caballero in that range. You're getting, the upside of Mike Trout, somebody solid like Stephen Kwan or Brian Reynolds. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Can I ask you what you do you have any love whatsoever for I'm just curious, Dalen Lyle. What do you think about him?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do. In fact, I've drafted him in my last 2 drafts. I mentioned him at First Pitch Arizona. Team context stinks. We talked about it. Nats fans, it's all right. We've been there as a Reds fan. I've been there before, but so yes, I've been there before, but at the same time, yeah, I like the hard hit profile. I like that he cut down, K's a little bit there. There's a lot to like about Dalen Lyle. I probably like him too much, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, he's a tough guy for me to somebody for me that kind of comes out of nowhere, he's not a nowhere because he was a solid prospect. And all of a sudden he's like a middle of the lineup bat. And he's just priced there in a group of like all these veterans. It's just hard for me to, have my ranking on him, but it's just, it's not far off his ADP, but